Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Are we about to see a bit of a Bitcoin correction due to the holidays? So welcome everyone, I hope you're good. It's holiday season, right? So subscribe, hit the bell, like and comment, please. Thank you. Also, check out the links below. Social media, if you want to jump in my Instagram or my Twitter, you can do, or say hello in Telegram. More than welcome. Hi. So let's talk about this. Now, this move is invalidated on the screen. We're going to go through kind of my thoughts. I think that was a stretch anyways. It was a very, very stretchy move. I wasn't going to take it, but if people were looking at that, I put this in my Facebook group and stuff. If anyone wanted to look at it, crack on, go for it. But risky. Holidays are here, Easter, all kinds of stuff like that, and we've also got this little virus going around that's causing a lot of havoc all around the world, and it really is a massive effect in the UK. So please, if you're in the UK, be safe. Same everywhere around the world, just please keep your social distancing, all kinds of stuff like that, because people are still getting very, very seriously ill and health services are getting very, very stretched. So that could also have a negative effect on any sort of financial economic downturn essentially. I talked yesterday about the stock market in quite a bit of detail in terms of the SPX and stuff like that, in terms of what it means for Bitcoin. Check it out, it's a real good watch. But let's talk about what is happening right now, because I've got a feeling we're going to drop quite significantly over the next few days. We've had a good week, right? Regardless of what's happening in the world, Bitcoin, the SPX, etc. has had a good week, right? We know that. But this long, sack it off, it's finished. This is the end of the cycle, we're coming down now. This was mainly due to a possibility of a retest of the 8k, bit of FOMO, people getting bullish and excited, and all these prints of money going into the stock market. Why not give it a go? Personally now, looking for a short opportunity in and around this level here to fall down to this daily level here, the 6.4 level. That is what I'm looking for as a potential bit of analysis to give you in terms of what Bitcoin is doing. But you've also got to look at the fact that halving is around the corner, and that could mean manipulation of the market structure, right? So be careful what you're doing, right? Do not be that person who's going to FOMO into a long because it's really, really bullish right now, because in reality it's not. When you start looking at certain time frames and seeing certain things, you're going to start looking and thinking, wow, that looks pretty bearish. This is still bearish. In my honest opinion, this is still bearish, because when you start looking at, if you draw in a little trend line across there, it's kind of rejecting. It's still going this way. We're still pathing towards this level, and this looks like a real, well, you could probably argue it is a flag. You know, it's a rising wedge. We know rising wedges tend to drop off like fuck. So just be mindful of that. And one thing I want to tell you as well is, if you've not yet figured this one out, on the daily time frame, if you put in the MA 200, it's probably one of the greatest directional tools you can ever use. It's long term, yes, and investors do use it, but just, I want to show you something just to give you an insight of where my bullish and bearish tendencies tend to lie. Yes, I do trade on the 4-hour time frame, but when you start looking and thinking, well, actually this is in a bearish market still, this is the overall trend setter of the market, okay? When you're below it, it tends to be bearish. When you're above it, it tends to be bullish. It's kind of realistically how it works. Now, yeah, you've got these small phases here where it's like, oh, it's bullish, boom. You know, got to go for a retest, off we go. But you've got to think of the long-term effect of what these indicators mean, the longer-term time frames. And if you start looking further out, you start to get a bigger picture of what is actually happening with the market. Now, if I move over to Bitcoin on this chart here, this is a different chart. The reason why I've got this one like this is just it gives you a bit more clarity in terms of what I'm looking at. It's got more data, it's not a buy a bit chart. We have got a CME gap up here at 9k. I don't think we're going to break that one just yet. And what makes this valid is I believe we're going to go down to these 5-3 levels. That's where I think this overall daily structure is kind of going to rotate back down to. That's what I believe. It's still a valid move that we could retest the higher points. Now, if I do a Fibonacci from this bottom to this top to bottom, sorry, we're still validated to potentially retrace this entire drop. Even if we drop a bit now and then go back up, it's still valid unless this bottom is breached and we go below that bottom area. But you know, every structure has some sort of meaning, and this is you could probably argue the most concrete bit of trend line you could probably get in the market right now for Bitcoin, and that is a bearish sign that we have rejected this top level, and it is looking likely we are going to see a potential drop off and a rotation back down. So that's my analysis as a whole for Bitcoin. Really simple analysis, and I think a lot of people are getting quite bullish and caught in the motions of what is happening overall and thinking wow, it's awesome. When you look at like the 1 hour time frame on the entire move, and you're like, whoa, it's so bullish, look at it, and like you start zooming out and you get really bogged down in what's happening, but in reality we've just completely smashed up this a few times and then we've just rolled over, and that is a big turning point, and I want you to be very mindful of that. So just be careful of what you're doing right now. I would definitely not be FOMOing into anything. And yeah, the long was on the offing from me, but at the same time it was incredibly risky, and you shouldn't have realistically done it with leverage. It would have been just as an opportunity if you were already holding from a longer point of view, as in from lower. So that is a pretty serious trend break, resistance, smash, slam, whatever you want to call it. Now, it didn't break out. We know that it's obviously a bearish engulfing candle has obviously appeared and printed, and if it closes down here, it's going to be pretty bearish. Now, this grey box here is a weekly level of support. That weekly level of support, whether it holds or not, it's a key psychological barrier. It's just below the 6-8 level. It's got a lot of areas of interest when you start looking at why this is kind of good. Now, if I just put my crosshair in and around this level here, you can see, if you're just looking left on the screen, how much is here. There's a lot here. The same with up here as well, that 10k psychological level. So be mindful of that. But I do feel we are going to go down to this level here, and this is like the most obvious place. If it goes lower than that, wow, we could get down to this 3-7 level. Wow, got a frog in my throat. In terms of Ethereum, exact same thing again. Don't worry, I don't have coronavirus. Anyways, this again looks like it's showing a rejection. This trend line isn't as solid, but it's again showing the same tendencies that we have came to a certain point. We've turned around and we're going to follow the rest of the market. But that also does tie in with the likes of the SPX. We are starting to hit levels where we could start to see resistance. Now, yes, there was a $2.6 trillion print yesterday, which could knock this out the park completely. But ultimately, it's going to be a sticky area. But it is the holidays. It is Easter weekend coming up. So people may be relaxing and taking things out of things just to make sure things are safe over that period. So don't expect like a rosy weekend. Like, I honestly believe that we will be taking profits, and even on the likes of XRP, everyone is doing the same sort of thing. It looks like profits will be taken from this rally and then they will be taken out of the market, so we may have a bit of a downturn this weekend. That is my overall analysis on that, and it's very obvious that we have hit a certain barrier and the rest of the market is flowing. And just to give you an insight of what the altcoins are doing right now, look away if you're an altcoin investor. It's a bloodbath. It is pretty deep in underwater. Yeah, the high caps are holding up in terms of like 5 and 6%, but your altcoins are double, maybe even triple that in some cases, which is kind of worrying if you are holding bags. So just be mindful of that. Just be careful with what you're doing in the industry right now. It's a big, massive warning. I think there's worse days to come. And just to go over Bitcoin just one last time, I want you to be very mindful that this is potentially a retracement of this entire structure here, which could lead down to the 5.2 to 5.3 levels potentially. So just be mindful of that. So that is today's video done. It's very quick. It's very easy, but I want to just say thank you to all the people that do support my channel. Yes, trolls, hi, I know you are in the shadows and stuff like that, but ultimately every view, every like, every comment does help. It does make, it makes it grow further, and I think a lot of people do benefit from seeing what other people think. Overall, looking to grow the channel further. Obviously, I'm looking to do more content around the stock market, around even property as well, in my own personal journey, as well as Forex and obviously cryptocurrency, which is my main thing that I focus on a daily basis. A lot of people have been requesting about lessons and stuff. I'm going to do 1 or 2 more lessons for the playlist to give a good overall basis of free good content so people can learn. Like, obviously I've done Fibonacci, I've done support and resistance, the two main ones that needed to be covered. But I'll do other things as well to kind of help people out in terms of understanding the markets, even the psychology of markets and how things move. There's a lot of magnets in markets you probably never even noticed, but things tend to gravitate to big key areas. I've already mentioned one key area here. I already mentioned one key area here when I put my cursor on certain things of why things will go and gravitate to that level. So I've been buying for over this weekend, so please be careful. Do not trade your hodl bags. Look to accumulate them through trading if you so wish to, or if you are waiting to pounce on the market at the low prices, buy freaking low. Don't worry about it, just buy low. Simple.